So this story happened to me when I was 12 years old. I'm a female, and now 25. The story I'm about to tell you might not seem scary to most, but for me and my parents, it was. I remember it being a Saturday night, around 9 or 10 p.m. during the summertime. I owned one dog at the time, and his name was Benny. My parents decided that night that they felt like going for a walk around the block, so they could walk Benny, and asked me whether or not I wanted to join them. I said no, because I wanted to play PWI on my PC, which stands for Perfect World International. My parents were okay with leaving me alone since the walk would only take about 30 minutes tops. As my parents were getting dressed to leave the house, I logged into PWI and I looked around my guild and global chat to see if anyone was on. For some reason, no one was, so I decided to join my parents. I got dressed, put Benny's leash on, and we all left. Now, I'd like to mention that, at the time, we were living in an apartment building that had 10 floors. We lived on the very first floor. I'm not sure how to explain this, but so you have the apartment, and then the apartment has a basement in it, and then ours was on the first row of the floor of the apartment building. Basically, you enter the building and you're already facing the apartments. I lived in that very first one. I remember always hating that, because whoever would pass by our door, we would hear them, regardless of any time of day or night. Whoever was lurking around, we would hear them. So needless to say, it was somewhat eerie to live on floor 0. Anyways, we leave the house, my dad closes the door. We had 3 keyholes, a steel bar that would block the door from the inside. The bar covered half the door. Precautions were always my father's obsession. We exited the building and enjoyed our walk. After about 15 minutes, we realized that the wind had changed from the warm summer wind to an incoming storm wind. My mom makes the call to go back home, as Benny has already finished all of his duties. So, we all return. We open the building door, climb the 5 stairs to our door and attempt to open it. And my father does the following: unlocks the first 3 locks, and then attempts to unlock the metal bar that holds the door locked shut. At that moment, my father pauses, turns around to us with the most serious face I've ever seen on him, and whispers to us, "Call the police, and ring the neighbor's door." My mom goes to the second apartment, and the neighbor, who I'll call Ted, comes out to ask my father what happened. My dad whispers to him, covering the see-through hole of the door, "Someone is in my house. He or they are holding the door. Please stay here with my family and attempt to open the door, and I will be back." After saying that, I see my father rush, all by himself, around the building and in the dark. Now, I say dark because we don't have a street light on the side of our apartment facing the block garden. My dad disappears into the darkness. I go outside, too, not to follow him too much, but only to hear if he's in trouble. He's my dad, don't judge me. As soon as I get out, I hear him shout, "Hey, you! Come back! Who the hell do you think you are? I called the police!" At the same time, I hear him shout. I look at Ted, who manages to open the door and enter the house. I go after them and enter my house. It no longer felt like my house. In just 15 minutes, while we were walking, the home invaders made a complete mess of our house. All of our shelves and wardrobes were completely pulled out. Our clothes were scattered all over the house. Benny's dry food was all over the floor, indicating that they must have tripped on his bowls, probably not knowing we owned a dog. But what scares me the most was how organized they were. I say they because after seeing the disaster that they left behind, We knew that it was impossible for just one person to hold the door, steal, and organize what they wanted to take with them. I say organized because the thieves put in our living room, all packed and ready, what they wanted but couldn't steal. On our couch, they placed our laptops, one of our TVs, my father's coin collection, our phones, chargers, wallets, and even my father's camera. He's a photographer, and that week he had to attend a wedding. They just didn't have enough time to steal all of that. So they just settled with some of my mom's jewelry and some pocket money. After seeing this, in my silly child mind, I rushed to my room to check my piggy bank. I always saved money from whatever chores I did. It wasn't much, but it was my work, my savings, and at the time, I thought they stole that too. When I entered my room, I see the metal bars covering my windows are cut open and my window broken. This is how they entered, through my room. My room is the only room facing the side of the building and the one that's most secluded from views. Needless to say, after that, I've never felt safe in my own room, in which I had to live in for the next 10 years of my life, until I moved in with my fiancé. The police arrives, and they start throwing white dust. I have no idea what this is. Still, it's all over our house. They're trying to find fingerprints, they take pictures, take our statements, and then they analyze my room and window. Fortunately, they were unable to catch the home invaders, but were able to tell us that this invasion was not the only one in our neighborhood. During that month, another 4 houses were broken into, one of them being the home of a cop, not related with the cops at our home. They told us that the invaders analyzed their victims, learned their schedules. They even knew where the children's rooms were, as they were seemingly entering the houses through the children's windows. All the other families affected by them had children. When it came to our house, it seems like the invaders didn't expect us to be back that soon, and they panicked. Hence is the reason why one of them was holding the door with his body, so the others could flee. The person after which my dad was shouting was probably the one holding the door, and the last to escape through my broken window. Honestly, I don't know what could have happened if I didn't change my mind and give up on raiding for gear in PWI. I would probably have come face to face with these invaders. I'm so happy I didn't, and I hope to God I never meet one of them. Period.